American soybean farmers are facing a crisis that threatens their livelihoods, a situation that has been building over time but has now reached a critical point. This crisis not only jeopardizes their personal futures, but also the stability and economic health of their entire communities. For many years, these farmers have depended heavily on global markets, with China being a major buyer of their crops, providing a steady income stream. However, China, which was once the largest purchaser of U.S. soybeans, has drastically cut back on its purchases, leaving a significant void. This abrupt change has resulted in a massive surplus of soybeans, with farmers struggling to find alternative markets, leading to widespread economic hardship across rural America. The issue is not just a result of one bad season, it is a complex problem deeply rooted in global politics and economic shifts that have been unfolding over the years. With China stepping back, the entire supply chain has been thrown into chaos, leaving farmers with millions of unsold bushels and no clear path forward. The basic economic principles of supply and demand have turned against these farmers. There are simply too many soybeans and not enough buyers, causing prices to plummet to unsustainable levels. Now, the cost of producing soybeans often exceeds the revenue farmers can generate, pushing many to the brink of bankruptcy and financial ruin. This crisis lays bare the vulnerability of American agriculture to the unpredictable forces of global markets and underscores the urgent need for innovative solutions and support. The impact of this crisis extends beyond the farms, rippling through rural communities, affecting local businesses, schools, and the very fabric of small-town life. Recognizing the severity of the situation, the U.S. government now views this as a national security issue, prompting new measures to safeguard the nation's food supply and protect American farmland from future disruptions. China's decision to block U.S. soybean imports triggered the current crisis, sending shockwaves through the agricultural sector. For years, China was a reliable, massive market. American farmers built their businesses around it, investing heavily in infrastructure and expanding operations to meet the demand. When trade disputes disrupted this relationship, farmers were left with crops and no buyers, facing financial uncertainty and mounting debts. The loss was immediate and severe. Storage filled up, and alternative markets couldn't absorb the surplus, leading to a glut that drove prices down. No other country could replace China's demand overnight, leaving farmers scrambling to find new buyers and markets. This exposed the risk of relying too heavily on a single foreign market, highlighting the need for strategic diversification. Now, there's a push for market diversification, building new trade relationships to prevent future crises and ensure stability. Meanwhile, U.S. farmers are forced to compete with Brazil and Argentina for new buyers, driving global prices even lower and intensifying competition. The loss of the Chinese market hasn't just hurt the U.S., it's reshaped global agricultural trade, making it more unpredictable and volatile for everyone involved. Farmers, industry leaders, and officials are urgently seeking new solutions to stabilize the sector, exploring innovative strategies and partnerships. The lesson is clear: resilience requires broader markets and less dependence on any one nation, fostering a more sustainable agricultural future. The crisis has fundamentally changed how American agriculture approaches global trade, prompting a re-evaluation of strategies and priorities. With China out of the market, a major buyer suddenly gone, American farmers are left with mountains of unsold soybeans, their harvests piling up with nowhere to go. Storing these crops is expensive, silos and grain elevators are already filled to the brim, and some farmers have no choice but to pile beans in giant plastic bags or under tarps out in the open, exposing them to the elements and risking spoilage or loss. Every day the soybeans sit unsold, storage costs rise, profits shrink, and the uncertainty grows. The oversupply is a constant, visible reminder of the crisis, fields and storage yards overflowing with last season's crop. With too many soybeans and not enough buyers, prices have collapsed to levels not seen in years, making it nearly impossible for farmers to break even. Many farmers now sell at a loss, threatening the survival of family farms that have lasted generations and putting their way of life in jeopardy. Some try to plant even more, hoping for a turnaround or a sudden spike in demand, but this only deepens the surplus and drives prices even lower, trapping them in a vicious cycle. Others take on more debt, mortgaging land and equipment just to stay afloat, gambling on a future recovery that may never come. The burden is not just financial, it's a heavy psychological weight on farmers and their families, leading to sleepless nights, anxiety, and a sense of helplessness as they watch their livelihoods slip away. The cycle of surplus and loss is unsustainable, putting the future of rural America at risk and threatening to hollow out entire communities that depend on farming for their survival. Surging stockpiles have caused soybean prices to plummet, pushing many farmers to the brink. With buyers in control, farmers have little choice but to accept low prices, even if it means losing money on every bushel. Production costs, seeds, fertilizer, fuel now exceed what farmers can earn. Many are forced to dip into savings or take on debt just to keep their farms running. The emotional toll is immense. The stress of mounting debt and the fear of losing a family farm is overwhelming. Some seek off-farm jobs or sell equipment to survive. Younger farmers, burdened by debt, are especially vulnerable and may leave the industry altogether. The crisis is discouraging the next generation from farming, threatening the future of American agriculture. Rural communities are left facing an uncertain future as desperation grows. The soybean crisis sends shockwaves through rural America, affecting more than just farmers. When farmers cut spending, local businesses, tractor dealers, seed suppliers, mechanics feel the pinch first. Small towns see jobs disappear and businesses close, hollowing out communities as young people leave for better opportunities. Local governments, reliant on property taxes from farms, struggle to fund schools, roads, and emergency services as land values drop. The quality of life declines, making it harder to attract new residents or businesses. The crisis threatens the very fabric of rural life, built on agriculture. Recovery requires solutions that support both farmers and the broader rural economy. The fate of these communities is tied to the health of American agriculture. A new concern is rising foreign ownership of American farmland, especially by entities linked to China. This issue has shifted from economics to national security, as some foreign-owned land sits near sensitive military sites. The fear is that foreign control could be used to disrupt the food supply or gather intelligence. Agriculture is now seen as critical infrastructure, and foreign investment is under new scrutiny. Lawmakers are pushing for stricter regulations and reviews of land sales to foreign buyers, especially from countries deemed security risks. Protecting farmland is now about safeguarding U.S. sovereignty and food independence. States and the federal government are moving to block or limit foreign acquisitions. The control of American soil is now a top national priority. In response, the U.S. government launched the National Farm Security Action Plan. The plan's mission block countries like China from buying more American farmland and review existing foreign-owned properties. Federal agencies now have the power to force the sale of land deemed a security risk. The plan uses executive orders and new legislation to enforce these protections nationwide. Agriculture is now officially treated as a matter of national security. The government is working with states to create a unified defense against foreign acquisitions. The message is clear. America's farmland and food supply will remain under American control. This marks a major policy shift, prioritizing agricultural independence. The goal is to safeguard the nation's heartland for generations to come. The Farm Security Action Plan also targets the protection of agricultural innovation and intellectual property. Espionage is a real threat. There have been cases of foreign nationals stealing patented seeds and even plots to smuggle bioweapons. Such thefts threaten both economic stability and food security. The government is boosting security at research facilities and promoting collaboration between farmers, universities, and law enforcement. The Department of Justice is aggressively prosecuting agricultural espionage. These actions send a strong message: theft of American agricultural technology will not be tolerated. Protecting innovation is key to maintaining U.S. leadership in agriculture. The goal is a secure environment where American farmers and researchers can thrive. Vigilance and enforcement are now central to defending the nation's food system. The government's new approach is clear. Food security is national security. A nation that can't feed itself is vulnerable, so protecting farms and food supply is now a top defense priority. Foreign land ownership and agricultural espionage are seen as direct threats. Safeguarding agriculture is about more than economics. It's about national resilience and independence. New policies aim to keep strategic competitors out of American agriculture and protect the food system from disruption. The U.S. is drawing a line: farmland and food supply are strategic assets protected as vigorously as military bases. This marks a lasting shift in policy, ensuring America can provide for its people no matter what global challenges arise. The safety and integrity of America's farms are now non-negotiable priorities,